Morning. So we're live on YouTube and in the room now, as well as TikTok. TikTok, I'll do my best to answer short questions, but other than that, I stay on trend. But if you do want me to look at a specific stock, just put it and I'll cover them in the order once I'm done with the SPY. So, like always, let's talk about yesterday. I'm actually going to start this one a little bit different. So we were actually on the 15-minute most of the day, and I'll tell you what we were watching. So part of the training exercise that we were watching is the inverse head and shoulder that we were kind of watching all day. And so I was explaining to people that sometimes, an inverse head and shoulder can actually be a hidden bearish pennant, right? And so it could actually break down, and where you see one pattern, right, another pattern plays out, and then you get that collapse, right? And then now you're stuck in that because you played the trade too soon. And so a lot of what we talk about is, the most important thing on patterns is waiting for that proper retest. So if you notice, as we were coming back up, we had a kind of a small channel on the RSI. It didn't really move much. We had a little bit of bearish divergence, but it's not much, and it kind of played out there. But we had some move up north, right? It gave that strength. So once we blew past this here, right, now we blew past our neckline for our inverse head and shoulder. On this one, I actually had we had some people that were in this call already from down here, so it played out really well. But a lot of other people caught it because they waited for that retest like you're supposed to. So I had actually entered again. So I had caught this right here, but we had this retest here, and so right towards the end of market, when I saw that we were retesting, I had entered another call, and so. This one should be a really, really good profit. That's why I entered the call. That's kind of the basis of it. And so you can see that, instead of coming into that potential pennant breaking down, right, we actually did have the inverse head and shoulder, which for those of you that are new, you don't know what that means. It's just a reversal of trend. So we have our downtrend. Now this is a potential reversal of trend. We have our higher, our high, our higher low, our higher high, where are we at right now? So be really careful. I'm not even putting the indicators yet right now, but we do have this level here that we need to create an equal or higher high. So if it gets up to at least 432.64, look for a potential pullback, right? And the pullback could be something as simple. You can take this line here, stretch it out, and it could be something as simple as coming up like this on the market open, a double top, a breakdown, and then a hold of support. Now here's a key thing here that is going to be very interesting. If it does something like this, right, and it breaks this trend, now you have a head and shoulder that could reverse this really quick. But if it can hold above this trend like that, right, then it's going to have another explosion, and we'll be up at 430, 430, 435 today. So that's the key area I'm gonna watch alongside with the indicators and stuff that we have. But this is gonna be a big level, right? 432.60. If we come up and we start to butt our head on that, and we get some bearish divergence, we get the indicators popping, right? So you can see this one, so we had got a long call right here, right? But you also have bearish divergence with it. And so the short ended up flipping quickly, played the short, the long played out nice on that, and we have not actually called a short yet on this 15-minute. So let me check out the 1 hour and see where we're at on that one. You can also see a more clear inverse head and shoulder on the 1 hour, but so we did call the long. I mean, look at how where is it? So you got the short way up there that it called, right? And we are in that long. So I mean, the indicators absolutely crushed it. Harmonic Tracker Pro does really well on also order block levels, and so it called that support. This was that landmine area we were talking about. So far, it's played out well, right? I mean, we're almost up $10 in a few days. So we do have a slight resistance level it's calling, which is what we talked about right there. So that's what we want to watch. If we can break above here in some steam, right, and we can hold this as support, then it's gonna shoot up in a pretty big way. I mean, there's not a lot of order blocks until you get up to like the 40s. So I also like to check the zone tracker just to confirm. It is some heavy resistance in here. Don't ignore the fact that you have the 200 EMA right here, which is around 435. So if we do have an explosion today trying to bait people and we continue to come up like this, you're going to get a squeeze on this trend line here mixed with the 200 EMA, and that's where we could likely see our collapse back down. So don't you want to ride trends, but you don't want to chase trends too far, right? At some point, you're going to have that breakdown, and that's where people get caught. And so same thing here, right? You had your fall. I mean, you chase this trend, and I mean, you think every time it pumps up, you take a put. Pumps up, take a put. Oh, I'm killing it. Took my put. Well, you don't close this one quick enough. Now you're negative, and then now it's going to just get away from you, right? And then you end up getting into a big loss. So depending how long this trend can actually go for. So let's look at the zone tracker and the Bollinger. So this is the 21 SMA. Y'all know that when I had mentioned when we break this 21 SMA, if we can hold it as support, then we're going up. That also put it was another reason why I was okay taking that call yesterday near market close. I don't do that often, but I did because we had the bullish pattern. We had the bullish pattern breakout, the retest. We're above that SMA holding as support, and up we go, right? And so it's very possible if we can break this area around that 432. I would not enter a call right now on market. If you're not in one already, I would not do it on market open. I would let this sucker pull back, retest this 21 SMA, and then hit your call up. If we do pump up on market open and we get up to and we do break this 432 range with some significant volume, then I would look for that put somewhere around 434 or 435, somewhere there. And we have our different ranges set on our live trader. You guys know that's what we sent out. So it should be a good day trading. I will tell you though, guys, if you're new to trading, I caution you on Fridays. If you want to trade a Friday, set your contracts to 3 days or into next week, but close all your trades at the end of the day. Don't let it run through the weekend. It's not worth it. If you're wrong, you're wrong, right? I also have a rule that I teach people. If you made, let's say, $5,000 this week, don't do contracts that exceed more than like 1,000 today, because worst case, if it goes to hell, right, and it goes up to against you, you lost 1,000. You're still $4,000 net green. You took a chance, right? But if you're right, you could grow on it. But don't. I see so many people, they get all excited because they're way up, and then they'll go and risk $5,000 on all these contracts, and they chase it and they start adding DCAs, and then they give away all their week's earnings in one day on a Friday of all things, right? It's stupid. The only way I would say to let a trade go through the weekend is if you're putting out like a 10-day contract. Let's say you want to play this inverse head and shoulder, and you throw a 30-day contract out there because you believe this trend is going to continue based on news, things that you're seeing. By all means, throw in that trade, let it roll. But if you're chasing 3-day contracts, 0-day contract, don't. It's Friday, guys, and that's why in our room we don't do we let the automation. So I'll briefly show you. This is our automation that we set up. Our settings. We have specific ranges that it'll take trades on its own. While the automation's running on Fridays, we teach. So we're gonna play. I'm spending a little extra time on this. I will cover Apple. Cool that if you're still here. But we do things to teach people, right? So like, just an example. Let me just replay it. Actually, if you use this replay function here, this is what we teach people to do. And let's say we started right there. And so what we do, ignore these lines. I can probably just delete them. I'll remove my drawings. And so what we do is today is we're gonna we'll use this feature, and we'll get to kind of some key areas, and we'll use the indicators, and I'll say, okay, what do you guys see, right? Oh, we see a trend down. Okay, you see a trend down. I see a potential shoulder, and because we had a quick move here, I see a potential possible head, right? This is literally what I said in the room. We have our bullish gap fill starting to show. Okay, well maybe it is a inverse head and shoulder because our indicator's starting to show bullish, right? We have a little bit of a lower low here, right? But it's starting to gain some strength into the market. And so, I'll ask them in the room, when do you want to take that trade, right? So let's say now we're like, okay, this is really an inverse head and shoulder. It came up, it's retesting that neckline. I'm going to take a call, right? And this is some training exercises we do. And then I say, okay, great, we're going to call, right? And then see, I hit play, went into the end of the day, which is where we close it. And it's like, great job. You guys made the great call, right? And so we do these kind of like training exercises because you want to learn and make mistakes when it's not real, right? I mean, because this is more reality stuff, right? So now let's back up to here, right? This is what we're going to do today. So if you guys want to come in and play, come in. But let's say you go, oh man, well, this is an inverse head and shoulders. Okay. And you don't draw the trend line of the neckline and you go, guys, I'm going to play it early. I'm going in, right? Some people do this in the game. It's funny. And I go, oh, wait, wow, you're negative $8,000. Do you want to stop out? What do you want to, what do you want to do? Do you stop out? Do you look for a bounce? Do you ride this short? And, some people will say that. They'll say, oh, let's stop out and let's flip it to a short, right? And then, or a put. And then you can come down and, you ride this all the way down. You say, okay, now I want to close it, right? I'm just doing a sped up because for the sake of time of how we exercise this. And they say, okay, let's take our profit. Well, we lost $8,000, but we gained back 4, right? Now let's say you come back down and you're like, okay, let's wait. Let's wait till we get into the lower area. Now this is where, if y'all follow me every day, this is where we said this is a landmine area, guys. Be careful, take your calls. So let's say you paid attention, you're like, okay, I'm gonna take my call, indicators are bullish, everything's going, and you play this out, right? You let this go. Well, by the end of the day, it if you look at it, although we were down $8,000, we made that back, right? For the most part. I mean, it stopped it at the end of the day right there. But it's a way for us. The hardest thing as a trader is to figure out how to get out of something that has gone bad, because you're not going to always get the best entry, right? There's always news. I mean, stuff happens, right? And so we're gonna play and have some fun with that today in the room. If any of you guys want to join us, by all means do. But that's kind of we already covered the levels in the SPY. If you missed it, I'll put in my for TikTok. I'll put in our YouTube. You can always check us out on our YouTube. Or you can come into the community. All of our stuff is recorded, guys. If you go into here, community events, if you're new to the community, you also want to know this. And you just click on here and you can see this is literally what we are doing today. So super simple. That's how we keep it. We want to be a one-stop shop. So let's talk a little more about the market. We already have the ranges I talked about, key areas to watch on the SPY. We'll talk more in the room on that. Let's jump into Apple. I know somebody asked about Apple. Hopefully you're still around. Some people get impatient and leave me. But so let's talk about Apple. I'm going to mute some indicators because I want to show you the levels. So this was Apple. And if you guys notice, we had marked this level due to heavy support here, and there was also heavy support down here, right? And so we did have a break below, which came down and hit this level here. So if we mark this spot right there, let's look and see why that would have, I like my line horizontals yellow, why that could have been potential support, right? So now we have a lower low on Apple. We broke this level of support, which is why we, it tried to hold it, it tried to break it again. Now we have prior resistance, right, over here. You come over to this side here, right? We haven't even looked at this. You can see there's a lot of prior resistance in there. And so it's not super surprising that we had a little bit of a bounce from Apple right there. Now I'm going to look and see, okay, is there any relevant trend lines maybe that I'm missing? I don't see anything on the 1 hour. Let's look on the daily. You want to try to figure out, trust me, that the thing bounced for a reason. It doesn't just bounce to bounce, right? There's a reason why that bounced at that level. And so if you really kind of look at the bigger picture, right, there's not a whole lot other than, the prior resistance level turning into potential support. So knowing that, we know that this level is not super, super strong. So if you take, a trend line, something like this, right? Or you could even take one like this on Apple, take from the peak, and you hold it down like that. These are some key levels you want to watch. And so what I like to do is, I'm going to delete this one. One, on the 1 hour, you can see we do have a shoulder head and kind of like another shoulder forming here. And so if you look at that and we take the neckline, which would be arguably right there, we are above that, right? So here's what I would play if I'm playing Apple today. I would take this path like this, and as you see this potentially play out, right? And I mean, like I said, it's arguable whether that line's there or here, but this is fine too. But I'd want to see a rejection off of this trend line right here, and then hold as support a break above this trend line, and then that's where you're going to get a crazy run if you wanted to play that pattern, right? So your entry would be somewhere around here. Give it some time. Don't enter it too soon. If it breaks with some steam and retests like that a little bit sooner, right, then you want to enter it on that retest, not any sooner than that. Otherwise, you can see we have rejection. We could easily come up here and then just have a pretty nasty rejection. So because we know this level is not very, very strong, if it does reject, I would probably mark something like 162, something like that, as a stronger level of support. So it may need one more breakdown oscillation, right, to come up here to break it. But it definitely isn't a bullish pattern. So now a lot of times when I'm reading that, I'll look at my SMA EMA. So my 200 EMA is here, 174. My SMA, we are above it. So that also puts it in a similar situation like the SPY was, right, where you're above that SMA and you could have that break north. As long as it holds above this SMA, you're likely in that squeeze. So now I want to say, okay, is there any divergence? Is there anything like to support that it might collapse, right? You don't really have any bearish divergence. There was definitely some bullish divergence right here, which played out. So, it's not looking too bad. I would be really careful on the puts. I mean, this is obviously a really strong support level based on our zone tracker. Then I would take my gap fill sniper. Okay, we've been a little too bearish, not quite gap fill ready, so it could be a little more bearish, but I would see Apple as having some room to push further up. I just don't know how long it's going to last. If we can break above this trend line, we're likely to push up to this kind of POC level, but there's a lot of support right in here, so this is going to be a critical area that could flip to resistance. So we could see something like this, right, before it actually breaks up. And that's where I would say on a Friday I would caution trying to do too much too fast. If it doesn't make sense or it doesn't flip, just wait, right? I mean, if you look, this is Monday right here. So we may need to push and break it today, and then Monday is where you would have that better setup for a call, and you can take 4 or 5 days on that. So harmonic wise, we did get a long. So you can see we called the long, called the short, and we are in a long. So you guys see where that is all supporting. Hope that helps, man. Tesla. I saw somebody put Tesla. All right. So I have a lot of crazy lines on Tesla. I need to probably delete. But you can see this line here that we put Wednesday. I think we did this Wednesday. This was our kind of lower trend line that we were following. That's playing out pretty well. We had some key levels. I do remember with Tesla. The interesting thing is this line here. I've kind of kept this line there. It's one of those weird ones where you have a lot of resistance, and then when you get above it, right, it flips as support, right? Typically, when you get a cross like a apex like this, it acts as pretty good support. Now, the interesting thing with Tesla is you did have the bullish divergence right there, so that easily called that. And if you ever want to see if our indicators caught anything like that too, you can keep it honest like this. There it is. Because you just go into replay. So not only did you have the bullish divergence, but our indicator said, hey, you got a bullish gap fill coming, right? And you can see, the bullish gap fill ended up playing out, right? Came back up. So that's how we play our scalps on our indicators. Our indicators are all 100% custom, and they work really well. So I only trade. You can see all my stuff's Bodjock on that. So it called this, this push north. This is what I'm pretty sure I had called yesterday as well. Might be the day before. I can't remember. We did get a long call on our indicator here. We did get a short call here, a long call here. I mean, I don't know how else, how you can not win if you're a Tesla trader. I don't trade Tesla a lot. I will trade an opportunity if I see it, but I just trade the SPY. I keep it simple. But I mean, if you're looking for guidance, I mean, I don't know how else to make that any more clear, man. Than that's awesome. So as far as Tesla goes, if we can hold the support above 248.66, I mean, you can see there's just a ton of room to move north. I would look for a possible rejection again, somewhere in this prior resistance level, 259, something like that. As far as a put, I would not take a put on Tesla unless we broke back below 247, 248. Then you can ride that put back down. We did have a little bit of a double bottom retest, right? Which is why we're potentially reversing that trend. But I also wouldn't take a call on market open. I would like to see it push up, pull back for a retest, then enter my call on that. Otherwise, if it just continued to go, I probably wouldn't chase it. I would look for a rejection somewhere around, this line or this apex in here, is how I would do that. How does Amazon look? Bullish or bearish? I can look at Amazon. I think, yeah, I still got some time. I haven't had an Amazon request in a while, so I don't think I've charted it in a while, but let me take a look. So I always mute all the indicators first. Let's go to our 1 hour. That's my favorite for guidance. Well, I mean, first off, you got the bullish divergence that's playing out similar to Tesla. I don't have any lines on here because you can tell I haven't charted it in a while, so let's take a look. So first thing I'm going to look for is, let me go to the daily. I'm trying to find an upper trend. I always want to, this is how I box it in, guys. And this works for anything you do. I tell everybody this every time I do it. Find your upper, find your lower, right, box it in. You can clean up your lines if you have OCD. I have selective OCD. And once you have this boxed in, right, now you're looking for what is some key levels, right? So obviously you have a key level of resistance up here around 144. This is actually a really huge line right here. I would mark this one forever. You have crazy support, even some support in here. Once that support broke, it collapsed. Retested, it failed, collapsed. Came back up, retested, failed, right? Retested, failed. Now, here's my thing on Amazon, because as my first look was, okay, I think we're looking more bullish. But when you go to the hour, you have a clean double top that broke. Here's our neckline, right? So this is going to be a viable neckline. So I would take this neckline here, and here's the play I would do. Don't enter a put to chase this as bearish. I would wait for this to push up to that 130, which is kind of doing. I mean, you can see the pre. If you hold resistance below 130.64 like this, right, you want to take the put because it's coming down like that if it can't break it. Now, the bullish, what you would look is if it can break this with some kind of steam on market open and begin to hold this as support, it will invalidate this whole thing and we're going up. So this would be my key pivot I would put out for you, 130.64, and just be careful. Yeah, this is my my take on Amazon for that I was asking. So I only got 7 minutes left. Let me jump onto the Dixie, guys. I do keep this very timely because we are recording this for the room. Also, we start trading at 9:15 in our room, so I do have to jump over. So let's look at the Dixie. We talked about this yesterday, how the Dixie at some point was going to have a pullback. That actually correlated with our push up on the SPY. And so kind of where we're at with the Dixie now, you can see on the 1 hour. Let's take a look at the Bollinger and the zone tracker. So we do have heavy support within here. It is trying to hold this 200. It didn't retest the 200 since 104.93. It is in that retest. You can see very similar area here where it exploded. It has a very similar look here. So if we're going to do our and or if, right? If the Dixie can break above 105.90 and it can hold this as support, then it's likely going to try to push up for a retest, which will drive the markets back down. If we continue to stay below the 105.8, I would really call it more the 105.78 that I have marked here. If we stay below that and start acting as resistance, like we did back here, right, then we're likely to have further downside, probably all the way down to 104.72. So that's kind of your range you want to watch. The Dixie is important, guys, because the Dixie goes down, markets go up. Dixie goes up, markets go down. Now, a way to verify that is, because sometimes you'll have the Dixie will be going down, right, but the VIX doesn't actually follow. And so the VIX is going to be a little more of an indicator that you want to watch for leading. Interesting enough, and I'm gonna mark this down. You guys that were on yesterday, you guys can keep me honest. Yesterday, really Wednesday, right? If you take our indicators right here, and you look at the gap fill sniper, so we had talked about how we've been overly bullish, so we need to flip a little bit bearish. Didn't quite call the gap fill, but I put it on replay to pull it back so you can see how our indicators reacted. It's showing heavy resistance in here. And what do we have? I talked about this probably for the last few days. We had 1, 2, 3, really, 1, 2, 3 of your bearish divergence. And it was clear. I mean, this is like textbook clean bearish divergence, right? Which is telling you that the VIX is going down. Well, if the VIX is setting up to go down, what does that do for the stocks? Pushes it up, right? And so that's why we watch those inverses, because you want to be able to anticipate that going moving down. Then it will reaffirm your pattern. So in the room, you guys know I talked about this. I said, okay, we're following the inverse head and shoulder. I said, let's see if we have things to verify that is going to potentially play out. So one of the things that we looked at was the Dixie. It did have resistance. So I said, okay, let's take a look at the Dixie. We had a lot of resistance. We had a double top retest, failed, boom. Okay, that solidifies that inverse head and shoulder might get some steam. Let's check the VIX. Okay, the VIX has tons of bearish divergence. VIX goes down, market goes up. So it's all solidifying that inverse head and shoulder would probably have enough steam to push through. And so that's why we were only in calls. I told everybody don't take the puts, be really, really careful. And so to my knowledge, nobody in the community is stuck in puts, right? We're all in calls. And so now, when you look at the VIX, if we go back to real time, you can see bearish divergence played out. Keep in mind, where are we at in the VIX on the 1 hour? We are testing that 200 on the 1 hour. And so you have the 21 here, you have the 200. So if you think about the leading on the VIX, how that could potentially play out, your end or if is if we hold above this 200, it's going to likely hold support like that. And this 21 is going to come down and it's going to squeeze. If it squeezes above this 21 at that point, it's going to push up, which will tank the market. However, the flip side of that is if we flip below this, right, or let's say we squeeze this for a little bit, it squeezes, and then we flip below and we start acting as resistance, this is going to dump and the markets are going to just pump in a crazy way. So this is how you correlate it all together. This is what we teach. I go over this in the room every single day that we trade together. We always trade together as a room from 9:15 to about 11, sometimes 12. I don't like to sit in front of the computer all day, guys. We get our trades in early in the morning. We teach. As we're making trades, I'm calling out what we see. We're super transparent in the room. It actually cracks me up because I get people on TikTok like, there's no way you can win doing it like this. Okay, I mean, I share my screen. Everything I do is not only shared, but it literally, even all the way down to our automation. I'll show you guys again for those that just joined. We put out the guidance that we play. I literally put out my settings that I use. These are my settings that I use. And so if I'm wrong, you guys are going to know I'm wrong. If I'm right, you're going to know I'm right. And, we tend to be a lot more right than we are wrong. In our room, we scalp. So you may follow some people out there that may have a different outlook on things, and they may not be wrong also, because we like to scalp in our room. We want to catch these little micro oscillations. Most of our trades were in and out within minutes. You can see on the trading floor here, this was our live trader settings that we did yesterday, and look how quickly they're in. I mean, in a call, you're out, right? This was a call that actually took a day to do, right? But it got out and profit up here. You're in a put and you're out, right? I mean, this is literally like maybe 20, 30 minutes. I mean, we're in and we're out. That's what we do. So we don't actually use Discord. What we do, so I have about a minute, so I'll keep it short. But we found when we were on Discord that there's a lot of scammers, people messaging, people were getting robbed left and right, and I hated it. We were so freaking mad about it, and so we're builders. So as you can see, what does this look pretty similar to Discord? We created our own Discord. So once you come in, and you can actually come in here for free, guys. You can come in and talk to us. We purposely make it free for you to come into the team discussions because we want you to get to know us. We want you to get to know the community. We want you to get to know how we operate, how our calls are. We're continuing to grow and improve on it. We do some really good intel for the market insights, and we're going to grow on that. We're going to start doing some weekly picks. Where Mondays we'll expand out to what stocks we're really watching, if we're bullish, if we're bearish. We give you that guidance. But the most important thing, and I'm going to leave you guys with this, is we don't just give you the fish. We teach you. I'm not going to just tell you, hey, take a call, go long. I'm going to tell you why. This is why we had an inverse head and shoulder. This is what it did. This is why we're bullish. You need to know why, right? Because we want you to be able to do this on your own. I mean, we don't want you just relying on people, right? And we sell our products, not necessarily our knowledge. For a reason. So if you want to take a look at it, guys, this is where I'll end it because it is 9:15. Come into here. I'm going to click on the home page. This is what it looks like. You just go to botjock.com. For those on TikTok here, I will type it out. So take a look. Like I said, come on in. For those in the community, I already put out that stuff, the ranges for you guys. I appreciate you guys' time, and check out the market insights if you haven't already. Set your ranges, set the live trader. Enjoy your Friday. Let's have some fun. We're gonna do some training exercises here once I open up the room, and just have some fun today. So we're gonna do a lot of teaching. So, John, I know I appreciate it, John. You're gonna come in. I want you to come in, John. You're gonna do a lot of the picks today. Today's gonna be John training hour. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna drop off here. Appreciate your time. We'll see you soon. If you don't want to trade, you're green and you're taking the day off. Hey, we'll see you.